We'll begin by finding a position that feels comfortable for your body. So if that's not sitting cross-legged, or even if it's not sitting at all, you can feel free to stand if that's what your body needs. You can also lie down. We can tend to get a little sleepy that way though, so if you do choose to lie down, I might encourage you to, imagine my back is on the floor. I wouldn't be laying down like this, but you hold your hands up a little bit. That way, if you do fall asleep, they kind of fall on your body or something and you wake back up. If you're sitting or standing, just try not to slouch too much. Some traditions take posture very seriously, and treat it very reverently. So I'm not going to be doing that, but you can get a feel for what it's like to imagine yourself as a king or a queen. And perhaps you'd sit a little taller, a little more regal. But what's important is that you aren't straining or putting your body in a rigid or uncomfortable position. And you might play with finding the right balance between front and back and side to side, where you can be upright but not having to exert much effort. Just a nice, even balance. And then I just want to say something about feeling overwhelmed. If at any point you feel triggered by something like a thought or a memory or an emotion, we have a few resources at our disposal. And one is that we can open our eyes if they're closed and just begin naming different objects that we see around the room, like book or lamp or slippers, charger, phone, water, candle, like that. Or you can also just count them. Another one we can use is tapping. If we engage both of our hands, you can tap on your knees. Obviously, if it's a very strong sense of overwhelm, you might want to tap a little harder. You can just keep it really light. Just give it something for your mind to ground and focus on. You can also tap on your cheeks or on your temples. And tapping in this way engages both sides of our brain as well as our body and can help us stabilize whatever sense of overwhelm we might be caught in the middle of. So please feel comfortable to use any of these at any time. And lastly, this practice today will be a little bit of a body scan as we move through different potential options for an anchor. If any of them are particularly uncomfortable for you, you can feel free to sit that one out and use another option during that portion of our meditation. And I may use this bell when we move to practice being mindful of hearing, so don't be alarmed if I do. It'll just sound a little something like this. And lastly, if you need to shift your body at any point, that's totally okay. Just see if you can notice the initial discomfort, the desire to move, the movement, and coming back to a place of rest. If you need to shift from sitting to standing or vice versa, that's fine as well. So, when you're ready, you can close your eyes or leave them open if you like. You can also let them rest sort of halfway open or a quarter of the way open. And you might resolve to let everything else go for now. Maybe just a sense that for right now, nothing is more important than this time of practice. And just begin by noticing that the body is already breathing all by itself. It's part of our nervous system that keeps our heart beating and our lungs breathing without us having to even acknowledge it most of the time. So even though sometimes we consciously control our breath, it can also be helpful to just try noticing it taking place and just witnessing it. And if it still feels controlled, then just notice that and see if you can let it be however it is for right now. You can intentionally take a few deep breaths if you like, and release any tension you may be holding, maybe in your shoulders or your jaw or around your eyes. Just let the muscles in your body be soft. And come back to the breath. We can follow the inhale. Notice the pause at the top of our breath. And follow the exhale. And the pause at the bottom. If at any point you become lost in a thought, this is entirely normal, so there's no need to judge yourself for this. We can just notice, where did the thought come from? And where does it go when we notice it? We can notice if the thought changed how we feel. And then, just like the puppy, we can come back to the breath and begin again. You can feel the breath wherever it's easiest or most notable for you, whether that's the belly or chest or nose. And maybe even a little air moving through our passageways. If it's difficult to sense, you can also place a hand on your belly or on your chest to feel it a little more clearly. This can also be a way to comfort ourselves and offer a sense of nurture if things feel overwhelming or difficult. And if you like, you can take a few deep breaths. And shifting our attention from the breath, we can let it rest on our hands. You can let your hands rest on your knees or at your side, or you can cross them or link them together. And you can play with switching between the right hand and the left hand, or just feel them both together. And just becoming curious about the sensations that are present. Again, if you become distracted by a thought, just notice the mystery of how it got here and captured your attention. Where does it go when we become aware of it? And notice if it changed how you feel at all. And then come back to the sensations in your hands. Can even play with letting go of the very concept of hands and just notice the sensations that are present. Maybe tingling, warmth or coolness, maybe some pressure, maybe a slight weight that you feel. And perhaps you can even feel your pulse. Just growing curious about the sensations. If you like, you can include your arms as well. Just feeling from the shoulder all the way down to your hands. And shifting our attention again, we can let it come to our feet. can notice where they are making contact with the ground. You can focus on one of them or both of them. Noticing any tingling or pressure or temperature. And again, if you notice your attention drifts or wanders or becomes lost in thought, just like the puppy, gently draw the attention back to the sensations in your feet. You might include both of your legs as well, or just stay with the feet for now. Shifting our attention again to our field of vision. Again, if at any point something's uncomfortable, you can choose another option as your anchor. Remember the resources at our disposal, like naming objects or tapping. And just noticing our visual field. You can leave your eyes open or closed. And even if our eyes are closed, notice how it's not quite nothing. The visual field is still very much present. And you might begin to notice the farthest edges of your visual field. The top and bottom and the sides. Just leave it as wide open as you can. And just receive the entire visual field like a big screen at a movie theater. And let your gaze be soft, not focused on anything directly. We're just taking in the full picture of what's here. And you might notice that no effort has to be made here. Everything is just appearing all on its own, and you are simply aware of this. If you like, you can include the breath in the background while noticing your visual field. Okay, shifting our attention again, this time to hearing. You can play with noticing the sounds closest to you and farthest away all at once. See if you can listen as though you had headphones on and all of these sounds were just being played back at you. Every sound meets our eardrum, so you can see if you can let go of the concept of distance and just witness all sound at the level of your ears if you can. And notice how the sounds are just appearing all on their own, and you don't have to make any effort to receive them. You don't even have to make an effort to interpret the words that I'm saying. All of this is simply happening all by itself. Now I'll ring the bell in a moment and just see if you can follow it from the moment it appears to when it fades out entirely. We can follow the sound of the bell or any sound just as we do the breath. It just appears and then it fades. Notice you don't have to make any effort. It's just appearing all by itself. Now we can shift our attention to noticing the whole body resting in space. You can begin by perhaps sitting a little more upright if we've become hunched over or slouched at all. You can take a few deep breaths if you like. And just begin to notice where the body is making contact with the ground or the seat or the cushion beneath you, or your back against the chair or wall. Can notice gravity supporting your body, grounding you to the earth. Just feeling your body being held and supported. We can notice any pressure or temperature. And we can notice our whole body from top to bottom. We can include the back of our body as well as the front. And can even include the whole body breathing. And for the last minute or two, just begin again by focusing on one of the options we've gone over as an anchor, or feeling your whole body resting in space. I'll leave that up to you. And if at any point your attention wanders or becomes distracted by a thought, just gently bring yourself back to the anchor or noticing the whole body. And when you're ready, we can slowly and gently open our eyes if they're closed, perhaps stretching your body a little, introducing a little movement. And as we move into a time of discussion and reflection on everything we just explored in our awareness, just know that that's always here in the midst of every experience, just like the roots of the tree. And this is something we always have with us at our disposal as an anchor to ground us in our experience in the midst of our life.